What if I told you that the secret to staying vibrant, sharp, and free from many of the diseases that come with aging isn't found in expensive medications or fancy treatments, but right inside your gut? For seniors over 60, the gut is more than just digestion. It's the master switch for your immune system, your brain health, and even how quickly your body ages. Today, I want to take you into this fascinating world of gut health and reveal how tuning into it can prevent most diseases that we associate with getting older. When we think about aging, most of us focus on our wrinkles, our joints, or maybe how much energy we have in the morning. But what if I told you that the real story of aging is happening inside your gut? You see, your gut isn't just a tube that moves food from one end to the other. It's home to trillions of microbes that control so many aspects of your health. And here's the fascinating yet sobering truth: after the age of 60, that microbial community begins to shrink, lose diversity, and weaken. And that shift in your gut is one of the biggest reasons diseases of aging show up. Let's break this down simply. Imagine your gut microbiome like a vibrant, bustling city. In your younger years, the city is alive. There are countless neighborhoods of bacteria all working together. Some help digest fiber, some make vitamins, others keep the bad guys away. It's balanced, diverse, and protective. But as you pass 60, many of those good neighbors start leaving. Antibiotic use, poor diet, stress, lack of fiber, even just the natural aging process, as all of it thins out the city. Now, instead of a lively, protective neighborhood, you've got abandoned blocks. And who moves in when the good neighbors leave? The troublemakers, the bacteria that cause inflammation, digestive issues, and weaken immunity. Science backs this up clearly. Studies show that seniors often have fewer strains of healthy bacteria, especially bifidobacteria, which are critical for digestion and immune support. And when that balance shifts, the gut lining becomes weaker. This condition is often called leaky gut. Picture a cheesecloth with little holes. Molecules that should stay inside the gut start slipping into the bloodstream. Your immune system sees them as invaders and mounts an attack. That constant attack creates low-grade inflammation throughout the body. And we now know that inflammation is the root of most chronic diseases: heart disease, diabetes, arthritis, even cognitive decline. So why does this matter so much for prevention? Because the diseases we've been told are simply part of aging are often rooted in this loss of microbial diversity. Think about constipation, bloating, or indigestion, so common in seniors. Those aren't just annoyances. They're signals that the microbial balance has shifted. Or take autoimmune conditions, arthritis, thyroid problems, skin issues. They often flare up when the gut lining is compromised. Even your bone health ties back here. Certain gut bacteria help you absorb calcium and magnesium. If they're missing, your risk of osteoporosis goes up. I want to pause here because this is so important. Disease is not just bad luck or genetics. The science around the microbiome shows us that the way your gut ages plays a huge role in whether or not you face these conditions. That's empowering because it means you're not powerless. You can influence how your microbiome ages. Now, let me give you a simple example. Researchers compared the gut microbiomes of healthy centenarians, people who lived to 100, with those in their 70s. Guess what they found? The centenarians had more diverse and youthful microbiomes. Their guts were filled with bacteria that reduced inflammation and produced short-chain fatty acids, compounds that feed the cells lining the gut and keep them strong. These short-chain fatty acids, like butyrate, act like fertilizer for your gut lining. They keep it sealed and resilient. Seniors who lacked that microbial diversity didn't make as much butyrate, and their risk of disease was significantly higher. It's also worth mentioning antibiotics. Most of us over 60 have lived through decades where antibiotics were handed out like candy. Each round wiped out not just the bad bacteria, but also a lot of the good. And unless you deliberately rebuilt your gut, those good guys never came back. Layer on top of that modern processed foods, pesticides, and chronic stress. It's no wonder the microbiome weakens as we age. But here's where it gets exciting. Even after 60, your gut is not set in stone. The microbiome is incredibly responsive to what you eat and how you live. Feed it fiber and the good bacteria grow. Add in fermented foods, and you reseed the city with healthy strains. Give your body fasting windows, and you allow the gut lining to heal. Science shows these interventions can increase microbial diversity even in older adults. So when you think about aging and disease prevention, don't just think about blood pressure medication or cholesterol numbers. Think about your gut as the foundation. If you can keep your microbiome strong and diverse after 60, you dramatically lower your chances of chronic disease. And not only that, you improve your energy, your brain clarity, and your quality of life. The bottom line is this: your gut changes with age, and if you ignore it, disease finds its way in. But if you care for it, you hold one of the most powerful keys to staying vibrant and healthy for decades to come. When we talk about health after 60, most people immediately think about medications, vaccines, or avoiding germs. But what if I told you that the most powerful immune system in your body doesn't live in your bloodstream or your spleen? It lives in your gut. That's right. About 70% of your immune system resides right inside your digestive tract. And the health of your gut microbiome determines how well it can protect you. For seniors, this connection is absolutely critical because as we age, the gut often weakens, and with it, the immune defenses that keep infections and chronic inflammation at bay. Let's imagine your gut as a castle. The walls of this castle are your intestinal lining, and your microbiome, the trillions of bacteria, fungi, and other microbes, act as the knights patrolling the grounds. When your gut is healthy, your knights are strong, vigilant, and balanced. They fend off invaders, coordinate attacks against harmful microbes, and communicate with the castle's command center, your immune system. But after the age of 60, many of those knights are gone. Diversity shrinks, beneficial bacteria decline, and the castle walls begin to weaken. This is when the invaders find cracks and inflammation begins to take hold. So why does this happen? Aging naturally reduces microbial diversity. Add in factors like poor diet, chronic stress, medications, or antibiotics, and the decline accelerates. Seniors often have lower numbers of bifidobacteria and lactobacilli, two key groups that support immune function. When these bacteria are missing, the immune system becomes less coordinated. In practical terms, this means a senior with an unhealthy gut is more susceptible to infections, slower to recover, and more likely to experience chronic low-grade inflammation that silently contributes to diseases like arthritis, diabetes, and even heart problems. Here's an easy way to understand it. Think about the flu. Two people are exposed to the same virus. One has a strong, balanced microbiome. The other has a weakened gut. The person with a healthy gut mounts a quick and efficient immune response. Their microbiome signals the immune system to produce antibodies, coordinate white blood cells, and fight off the infection before it takes hold. The person with a weakened gut, their immune system is sluggish, signaling is uncoordinated, and the virus gets a head start. That's why seniors with poor gut health often catch colds more frequently, experience prolonged illness, or suffer complications from infections that younger adults recover from easily. But it's not just about infections. Chronic inflammation, sometimes called inflammaging, often begins in the gut. When the intestinal lining is compromised, small particles from food or bacteria can leak into the bloodstream. The immune system sees these as threats and responds by releasing inflammatory molecules. Over time, this constant low-level inflammation puts stress on every organ system: your heart, your joints, your brain. Many diseases we associate with aging, from Alzheimer's to osteoporosis, have inflammation as a key player. And at the center of that inflammation is the gut. Now for some empowering news. Your gut immune system is remarkably adaptable. Even after 60, you can rebuild your defenses and restore microbial balance. Fiber is your first ally. By eating a variety of vegetables, legumes, and seeds, you feed the bacteria that support immune signaling and inflammation control. These microbes produce short-chain fatty acids like butyrate, which act as messengers to strengthen the intestinal lining and modulate the immune response. Fermented foods like kefir, yogurt, sauerkraut, and kimchi also help, introducing beneficial strains that train your immune system and crowd out harmful bacteria. Lifestyle factors matter too. Stress management isn't just about feeling calmer. It's about immune efficiency. Chronic stress produces cortisol, which weakens gut barriers and reduces beneficial bacteria. Gentle movement like walking, yoga, or stretching also boosts microbial diversity and supports circulation of immune cells. And of course, sleep is a silent powerhouse. During deep sleep, your immune system reorganizes, repairs, and strengthens itself, but only if your gut is functioning well to regulate hormones and inflammation. Some seniors think that because they've reached 60 or 70, their immune system is permanently declining. That's not true. By prioritizing gut health, they can dramatically improve their resilience. Studies show that older adults who consume fiber-rich and fermented foods, maintain balanced sleep and stress routines, and minimize unnecessary antibiotics have stronger immune responses, lower inflammation, and better protection against infections and chronic disease. So here's the takeaway. The gut isn't just about digestion. It's the foundation of your immune system. If you care for your microbiome, you're not only reducing your risk of infections and chronic illness, you're giving your body the tools to thrive. Every meal, every bite of fiber, every fermented food, and every stress-reducing habit is a small investment in your body's defense system. And for seniors, that investment can pay off in vitality, longevity, and the confidence that you can stay strong, healthy, and resilient well into your later years. When we talk about staying sharp after 60, most people immediately think of crossword puzzles, brain games, or memory supplements. But here's what science is showing us. Your memory, your mood, and your ability to think clearly are not just controlled by your brain. They're deeply influenced by what's happening in your gut. And this is one of the most exciting areas of research because it means that if you can strengthen your gut, you can also protect your brain from fog, depression, and even diseases like dementia. Let's start with a simple truth. Your gut and your brain are in constant conversation. This isn't a casual chat. It's a direct line of communication through the vagus nerve, which connects your digestive system to your brainstem. Think of it as a two-way highway. Signals travel from your gut microbes to your brain, and signals from your brain flow back down to influence your gut. That's why when you feel anxious, your stomach might tighten, or why when your digestion is off, you suddenly feel moody or foggy. That's the gut-brain axis at work. Now here's where it gets really interesting. Your gut microbes actually produce many of the same neurotransmitters that your brain uses to think and feel. Take serotonin, often called the happiness hormone. We usually think of it as a brain chemical, but around 90% of your serotonin is produced in the gut. Your gut bacteria also influence dopamine, the neurotransmitter that gives you motivation and pleasure, and GABA, which helps you feel calm. So if your gut bacteria are thriving, these neurotransmitters flow in healthy amounts. But if your microbiome is damaged, the balance of these chemicals shifts, and suddenly your mood, your sleep, and your mental clarity are affected. This is why so many people with poor gut health report brain fog. When the gut lining is weakened, a condition often called leaky gut, tiny particles slip into the bloodstream. The immune system sees them as invaders and mounts an inflammatory response. That inflammation doesn't just stay in the gut, it travels. When it reaches the brain, it disrupts neurons, slows signaling, and leaves you feeling cloudy, forgetful, and less sharp. Over time, chronic inflammation can damage brain tissue, setting the stage for neurodegenerative diseases like Alzheimer's and Parkinson's. Science has started to prove this link. In studies comparing the gut microbiomes of older adults with dementia to those of healthy seniors, researchers found striking differences. The dementia group had far fewer beneficial bacteria and more harmful strains that produced toxins. Those toxins contributed to inflammation and directly harmed neurons. Meanwhile, the healthy seniors had a richer diversity of bacteria that produced short-chain fatty acids, compounds like butyrate that protect the gut lining, reduce inflammation, and actually feed brain cells. In other words, their guts were helping their brains stay young. But it's not only about disease prevention. It's also about how you feel day to day. Have you ever noticed that when you're stressed or down, your digestion often gets thrown off? Maybe your stomach feels knotted or your appetite disappears. That's because the brain sends stress signals straight to the gut. But the loop works both ways. When your gut is unbalanced, it can send distress signals back to the brain, leading to anxiety, depression, or irritability. This is why some people find that fixing their gut health improves their mood even more than medication. The empowering piece here is that your gut can be restored even after 60. The microbiome is alive. It responds quickly to what you eat and how you live. When you add fiber from vegetables, beans, and seeds, your bacteria ferment that fiber into short-chain fatty acids that protect both the gut and the brain. When you include fermented foods like sauerkraut, kimchi, and kefir, you're reintroducing beneficial bacteria that help regulate neurotransmitter production. Even giving your gut a break through intermittent fasting has been shown to increase a powerful brain protein called BDNF, brain-derived neurotrophic factor, which strengthens neurons and boosts memory. I've seen seniors who are struggling with daily forgetfulness, mood swings, and fatigue make small shifts in how they cared for their gut and notice dramatic changes. Within weeks, their energy lifted, their focus sharpened, and their mood stabilized. They often describe it as if someone turned the lights back on in their brain. That's the power of reconnecting the gut and the brain. So here's the takeaway. Your brain's future isn't only written in your DNA. It's written in the trillions of microbes in your gut. If you protect them, feed them, and keep them diverse, they will protect your memory, your mood, and your clarity. And that means that even after 60, you are not destined for decline. You have the ability to keep your brain sharp and your mind vibrant simply by caring for the ecosystem in your gut. When we think about metabolic diseases like diabetes, obesity, or heart disease, the first thing that usually comes to mind is sugar, cholesterol, or maybe weight gain. But science is showing us a much deeper story. These conditions don't just start in your bloodstream or your fat cells. They often start in your gut. And this is especially important for those of you over 60 because the risk of these diseases goes up with age, but your gut may hold the most powerful tools to prevent them. Let's start with blood sugar. Every time you eat, your gut bacteria go to work breaking down food and deciding how much of that sugar gets into your bloodstream. If your gut bacteria are balanced and diverse, they help keep your blood sugar steady. But if your microbiome is weak or dominated by the wrong strains, sugar spikes higher and lingers longer. Over time, this wears down your insulin sensitivity, paving the way for type 2 diabetes. Here's an example that makes it really clear. Researchers have studied identical twins who eat the exact same meal. Let's say a bowl of oatmeal. In one twin, blood sugar barely rises. In the other, it spikes dramatically. Why the difference? Not genetics, not age, it's the microbiome. The gut bacteria in the first twin help process and stabilize sugar, while the other twin's bacteria are missing that capability. So when we talk about blood sugar, we can't just talk about carbs and insulin. We have to talk about your gut microbes. Now, let's look at metabolism and weight. Many seniors find that losing weight feels impossible after 60. You cut calories, you exercise, and still the belly fat hangs on. What's going on? Part of the answer lies in your gut bacteria. Certain bacterial strains are efficient calorie extractors. They pull more energy out of the same food compared to someone with a healthier microbiome. That means two people can eat the same sandwich, And one stores more fat simply because their gut bacteria extract more calories. On top of that, when your gut is inflamed or leaky, it triggers hormonal changes that increase cravings and fat storage. This isn't about willpower. It's about an internal ecosystem that needs repair. Then there's the heart. Heart disease is often blamed on cholesterol alone, but the gut plays a major role. Some gut bacteria produce compounds that protect your arteries, while others produce toxins like TMO, trimethylamine oxide, that increase plaque buildup and raise heart disease risk. The balance of bacteria in your gut determines which side wins. Seniors with diverse, healthy microbiomes have lower inflammation, healthier cholesterol patterns, and stronger cardiovascular resilience. The link that ties all of this together is inflammation. When your gut lining is damaged and the wrong bacteria dominate, inflammatory molecules leak into your bloodstream. That inflammation makes your cells resistant to insulin, stiffens your arteries, and signals fat cells to store rather than burn. Chronic inflammation is the common root of diabetes, obesity, and heart disease, and it often begins in the gut. But here's the hopeful part. You are not stuck with the microbiome you have today. Even after 60, your gut is highly adaptable. When you feed it the right foods and create the right environment, healthy bacteria grow. Inflammation goes down, and your metabolism shifts. So what does that look like in daily life? Start with fiber. Most seniors eat far less fiber than their bodies need, but fiber is the favorite food of your good bacteria. Vegetables, beans, chia seeds, and flax seeds all feed microbes that produce short-chain fatty acids, which lower inflammation and help regulate blood sugar. Add fermented foods like sauerkraut, kimchi, kefir, or miso. These bring new strains of bacteria into your gut, reseeding the diversity you may have lost over the years. Another simple practice is fasting. When you give your gut a break from constant digestion, say 13 to 15 hours overnight, you allow insulin levels to drop, inflammation to calm, and microbes to reset. This helps restore insulin sensitivity and can make weight loss feel much more possible. And don't forget about reducing processed foods and artificial sweeteners, which feed the wrong bacteria and disrupt the balance. I've worked with seniors who struggled for years with high blood sugar and stubborn weight, only to find that once they focused on gut repair, everything shifted. Their fasting glucose numbers came down, their waistlines shrank, and their energy returned, not because they were starving themselves or exercising harder, but because their gut bacteria were finally working for them instead of against them. So here's the big picture. Diabetes, obesity, and heart disease may look like separate conditions, but they share a common root: inflammation and imbalance in the gut. If you strengthen your microbiome, you give your body the tools to regulate blood sugar, burn fat efficiently, and protect your heart. That means you're not doomed by age or family history. You have real power to change your trajectory, and it starts with the trillions of tiny allies living inside your gut. When it comes to your gut, here's the most encouraging truth I want you to hold on to. It is never too late to repair it. Whether you're 40, 60, or 80, your gut microbiome is alive, dynamic, and always changing. That means you have the power to strengthen it every single day. And when you do, you're not just supporting digestion, you're building resilience against disease, boosting your mood, and protecting your brain. So let's talk about some simple, science-backed steps that you can put into practice right now. The first step is fiber. Think of fiber as the favorite food of your gut bacteria. Without it, your microbes starve. With it, they thrive. But here's the challenge: most seniors get far less fiber than their body needs. The average adult eats about 15 grams a day, when studies suggest we need closer to 30 to 40 grams for optimal gut health. So how do you close that gap? You don't need expensive supplements. You just need to bring more plants to your plate. Vegetables, beans, lentils, chia seeds, flax seeds, all of these feed the microbes that produce short-chain fatty acids. These short-chain fatty acids are like a healing balm for your gut lining. They reduce inflammation, strengthen the intestinal wall, and even send protective signals to your brain. So the simple act of eating a variety of fiber-rich foods can dramatically shift your microbiome in the right direction. The second step is fermented foods. For centuries, cultures around the world have eaten fermented foods to support digestion. Sauerkraut, kimchi, kefir, yogurt, miso, kombucha. These are living foods filled with beneficial bacteria. Every bite introduces new strains of microbes into your gut, increasing its diversity. And remember, diversity is the key to resilience. The more different strains of bacteria you have, the more capable your gut is of protecting you from disease. Studies show that people who eat even just one serving of fermented foods daily have lower inflammation and better microbiome diversity. That's a simple change you can start today. Next, let's talk about fasting windows. Your gut isn't designed to be digesting food around the clock. When you give it a break, magical things happen. The gut lining repairs itself, insulin levels drop, and microbial balance improves. For most seniors, aiming for a 13 to 15 hour overnight fast is a great place to start. That could look as simple as finishing dinner at 6:30 p.m. and having your first meal the next morning at 8:30 or 9. This gentle fasting rhythm gives your gut time to heal without feeling extreme. And the bonus, Many people notice their energy improves and their waistline trims just by creating this space for repair. Another powerful step is to minimize unnecessary antibiotics. Now, antibiotics can be life-saving, and sometimes they're essential. But over the past several decades, many of us have taken them for every little infection. Each round doesn't just wipe out harmful bacteria, it also wipes out your good bacteria. And sometimes those strains never come back, so be mindful. Ask your doctor if antibiotics are truly necessary, and if you do need them, follow up with a deliberate plan to rebuild your gut with probiotics and fermented foods. We can't talk about gut repair without mentioning stress. Stress isn't just in your head, it changes your gut microbiome. Chronic stress increases the production of cortisol, which makes the gut lining more permeable and shifts microbial balance toward harmful strains. This is why seniors under constant stress often have more digestive problems and weaker immunity. So what can you do? You don't have to meditate for hours a day. Even simple daily practices like walking outside, deep breathing, connecting with loved ones, or spending time in nature can lower stress hormones and create a gut-friendly environment. Hydration is another often overlooked piece. Your gut bacteria need water to ferment fiber properly. Dehydration slows digestion and creates an environment where harmful bacteria can take over. Aim for steady water intake throughout the day and consider adding mineral-rich water or a pinch of sea salt to help absorption, especially if you're fasting. Finally, variety matters. If you eat the same 5 foods over and over, you only feed a narrow group of microbes. But when you rotate in different vegetables, fruits, spices, and herbs, you feed a wider spectrum of bacteria. That diversity keeps your gut strong and flexible. So try new foods. Rotate your greens. Add colorful spices. Each bite is an opportunity to expand your gut's resilience. I've seen seniors who thought their health decline was inevitable turn things around with these simple changes. They didn't need expensive pills or complicated routines. They just fed their gut with fiber, added in a few fermented foods, created fasting windows, reduced stress, and stayed hydrated. Within weeks, their digestion improved, their energy rose, and their mental clarity returned. So here's the big takeaway. You don't have to be a victim of aging. Your gut is not set in stone. It's alive, it's adaptable, and it responds to the daily choices you make. By nourishing your microbiome, you hold the power to prevent disease, sharpen your mind, and live with vitality well into your later years. Every meal, every breath, every daily choice is a chance to strengthen that inner ecosystem. And when your gut thrives, so do you.